Well, hello YouTube, this is Layout123 and today I'm going to be giving you a little lesson on some of my personal tips of how to collect model train stuffs. Now, I started about 7 years ago and I've accumulated what is a collection that I am very proud to own. And the way I've done this is from mainly going to train fairs and buying things and going to model railway shops. I don't really go near eBay, with the exception of a few of my items. For example, this Dock Shunter, which we'll get onto in a minute. I don't really like using eBay that much. And in this little video I'm just going to explain to you how I collect things, from the rolling stock to the locos, and I'm also going to be explaining to you the best way to do this. And I think the best way to start this video is by talking about locos themselves. And sure, everybody has their favourite locos and their favourite models, and this is one of the key components of collecting. The first thing you do when you find the loco you like is something that I think most people do now, and that is have a look on the internet at what people have said about it and watch reviews. That is the way I've learnt a lot, from watching reviews of some of the trains you see in front of you here. For example, the Helgen Rail Bus. If you watch reviews of that on YouTube and read up on blogs, model railway blogs about them, then you'll find out whether people think it's good or bad. You can also, this is probably my main to do, have a look on websites, model railway websites, at the price and see what the variation in price is. I know some websites that are selling the rail bus for £100 and I know others that are selling it for 70 and 60. So always keep an eye out, because you don't want to lose £30, because that £30 you could have spent on another loco. So it's all in your best interest to think about what you're doing. And this is where the second step comes in. Have a look in your local area as to where the nearest toy fair is, or train fair, and then go to that, because very often most of my collection is from these places, and you can pick up some serious bargains in these places, because you can go to a train fair and pick up, say, this Wren loco for £25, and then when you have a look on the internet it can be 30 and 40. And also it's a lot easier to judge the look of a loco and make sure that all the buffers are there and there are no missing features, and most of them will have testing tracks, and make sure that it works for you before you buy it, because that is another key thing. You need to make sure it works. You don't want to end up with a loco that doesn't work. We've all done that before, and it's not a fun place to be. But all in all, I do think research is so key. By doing your research you can pick up some serious bargains. And I know it's always hard maybe for some people to do the research, because they may not know what they're looking for and what they're looking at the beginning. I didn't know what I was looking at. If you'd have asked me the value of this to that, I wouldn't have been able to have told you at all, whereas now I'm pretty confident with most of the trains I bought and trains I look at, that before I look at them I can figure out how much they should be worth. And that is such a key component of this hobby. Another thing you must do, and I did mention it a minute ago, is you have to really check that everything is there. If you're buying a loco out of the box like these, then you need to make sure that it's all there. The motors are, well, the motor's going to be in there, but you need to make sure it's all going to be working. You've got all the tension locks, all the buffers and everything, because you don't want to get it home and think, oh, there's bits missing off this and I didn't realise that, and I've spent £45–50 on something. That's not the aspect of the thing. But another thing also you need to remember is take a look in your model shops, because if you look at that loco at the back, the Princess Elizabeth, I paid £12 for that in the box, and there is not a scratch or a scrape on it in a very well-known model shop. And I think if you do look and filter through some of the stuff, you do find these bargains. It's all about taking the time and the effort and thinking about what you're doing. Granted, we don't all get it right. I've got it wrong probably 3 or 4 times. But I think that's all part of the fun. Buying locos that may not work well and then trying to get them to work really well. That's something that I have done in the past. I try and steer clear of it now because I don't get the enjoyment I used to out of it, but every now and then there's a loco that will catch my eye and I just have to get it and have to have a go with it. And another thing to remember when collecting this stuff is always know what's rare. This Trying Dachshunter with the red number 5 on it, there's not many of these around from what I know, and I looked every day on a popular auction site. I'm not going to say the name because I don't do adverts. I looked on there every day. I typed in Dachshunter, Doc Authority, Dachshunter again, Dachshunter red number 5, Trying Shunter, everything you could think of to try and find one of these. And after, say, 4 months of doing this, as sad as it may seem, one of them appeared and I had to have it. And it is one of the real achievements, I feel, of my collection. And certainly I would recommend looking at what is rare and seeing if you can find one. Or you may even have one and not realise it, which is another thing. Always make sure what you've got you know the value of, because when it comes to resale, you need to know what people are going to pay for what you've got. And if we look at just this little group of locos that I selected, these are all so varied in value. I mean, you've got from 50 to about 10 to 25 to 30 to 50 again to nearing the 100 mark to about 30, and then 30 for the Gandhi Dancer, which is another thing. These are great little quirky items that you can buy as well. I mean, that is another thing to bear in mind. Always look out for the quirky items, because they are just great. Absolutely brilliant. I think it is very important also not necessarily to always buy online. I don't like buying things online. I like to have a look at what I'm buying. I like to speak to somebody when I'm paying for it and get to know a bit more about the train and a bit more about maybe where it's come from. And I think it's all part of the experience of this hobby, is definitely finding out more about the actual companies. And another thing is the times I go to train fairs and see younger people of about 12 with their dads going, oh, this is Trying, will this work with my Hornby, and this is Lima, and this is that. The thing is, if you do your research, you'll find out most of the double O gauge stuff is cross-compatible. And I can't stress enough, I mean, I've been in that position. I've picked up things going, oh, this is a mainline carriage, I don't think I can run this with my Hornby, when I was younger. And I think this is such a key part of the hobby, learning about the stuff that you have and learning what can go with what, because it is so key. I know I'm babbling on here, and I might show some trains running at the end of this video, but I thought this was a video I really needed to do, just to show you what my tips are on collecting this stuff. Because I know quite a few people nowadays will just go to the model shop when the new train comes out and buy it, and I just can never really understand that, or pre-order it off the Hornby website or the Bachmann website. I normally leave it a few months and wait and see where one ends up, and also it's nice to wait and see, because there are many YouTubers who will do reviews of the brand new trains, and there have been times when I've looked at things and thought, yeah, that's nice, I've seen a review of it and thought, no, why am I buying that? I don't really want to get caught up in talking about specific models, because I don't want to get into trouble with all the big companies, but I thought it was definitely important to mention something like that. When it comes to the rolling stock, nowadays it's cheap as chips at train fairs. You can pick up 10 little coaches, open wagons for about, well, £10 off them. They're not really that expensive. And I've also found if you can build up a relationship with some of the sellers, the next time you go back they're always willing to do you a discount. And that's something you're never going to get on the internet, unless you're very lucky. Or I don't know, maybe you have had that. Maybe you can tell me how you collect this stuff in the comment section down below. And I've just looked down and realised I've been talking for 10 minutes and you're all probably going crazy. So for those of you who's made it to the end of this video, I thank you very much. And for the rest of the video, I'm just going to show you some trains going around the layout. Nothing in particular. You've probably seen them before, but this is a little bonus for all of you who managed to listen to me talk this long. Thank you very much, guys, and see you all soon. Bye bye.